Welcome back to the Future Self podcast. Welcome to season 3, episode 10, an episode I'm recording in a podcast studio in London. I'm going to be real with you right now. It's going to be so fucking hard going from studio to studio and fingers crossed praying that each one is better than the one before. The studio in Vietnam was just average as fuck. I was in my apartment or the place I was staying, and it wasn't that good. But today, I really want to express that there's going to be a few topics I want to cover. But based on recent feedback, I want to go about the podcast a little bit different. I highlighted this in the last episode that when you over-deliver or you give too much information, you can actually under-deliver and under-provide. So if all I do is sit here and spit information to you back to back on topics, complexities, and dynamics, you can drown out a little bit. And I've been pondering on the idea, is it not good to give my personal experience with what I'm experiencing at the moment because of the lack of relatability? I don't want to be talking about something that someone sits there and registers, I can't relate to that. I'm not living that life. But then on the flip side of that, no one lives my life. No one's lived my life. No one's been through what I've been through or is going through what I'm going to continue going through. And that's not the point. The point of this is to give a different perspective. So I really, really want to cover just quickly what's going to be in this episode. Because if you're keen on one of those topics, stick around. And if you're not, I'll see you in the next one. So what I want to talk about today is perspective is the dictator, the pain of criticism. People can't ever be as happy for you as you can. The actuality of the rise and dips at any level. The reality of the work ahead of you as a deterrent. Delusional thoughts and their power. Projection of emotions versus ownership of logic. So if you're keen on that, sit back, relax. If you're walking on the treadie, turn that fucker up. If you're in the car, turn the volume up. If you're watching on Spotify, I adore you. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. You know the fucking vibe. Perspective is the dictator of experience. This is something I've actually been reflecting on quite a lot recently. And I can easily hit you with one of those cliches that your mindset is everything. Perspective is everything. And it just depends how you look at it. If you look at something for its face value, it can be really corny and cliche. You won't necessarily gain something from it. But if you actually think about what's being said and apply it to your life, you can really gain something from it or change the direction in which you're heading in. Perspective is the dictator of experience. What does that mean? It means that the way you look at something, how you think about something, is your experience in life. That's how it is. I've really, really thought about it a lot recently because you can have a rich person fucking depressed and a poor person optimistic and happy with everything. You can have someone in a secure relationship feeling insecure. You can have an insecure relationship, but by some means, that person feels secure. Your perspective on any situation will be your experience. A lot of people get wrapped up in the idea that when I'm rich, I'll be happy. And boy, I'm fucking guilty of that, I'll tell you that. Or when I'm successful, I'll be happy. When I'm at this, I'll be happy. When I've achieved this, I'll be happy. It's not the fucking case. It's not the truth. It's just not how things work. I remember when I first launched my business, I wrote down on my goals board, when I have 20 clients, I would have made it. I'm happy. I got there. I didn't feel that way. The next goal, when I buy my AMG, when I get there, I'll be happy. I achieved it. It didn't change anything. The next goal, if I buy an apartment at 22 years old, when I get there, I'll be happy. I got there and I didn't. I've always had this relentless pursuit of when I get somewhere, I'll be happy. But that's not how it works. It's your perspective. That's why everyone thinks about things differently. Some people think money is success. Some people think time is success. Some people think a family is being successful. Helping someone's life is successful. There's a difference in how people think about things because That's your perspective. And perspective is molded from your childhood, your experiences, people's input, what you care to learn, what you care to educate yourself on. Everyone's perspective is going to be different. But again, it stems back to what I stated about it. Perspective is the dictator of experience. Now, I say dictator because dictator is telling you what it is. It is directly the responsibility for something. So your experience in this life is being dictated by your perspective. And I say that not necessarily with the answers for you. I don't have the answers of, well, think about this in your life, you'll be happy, or change your mindset to this. That's not it. It's elevating your awareness and exposing you to a different thought that achieving something won't make you happy. Getting somewhere won't make you happy. I could be traveling the world right now. For anyone who doesn't know my journey, I'm 22 years old and I'm currently solo traveling the world. I'm going Southeast Asia, Europe, maybe into America. I don't know the plan. I don't know where I'm heading. I don't know what I'm doing, but I've checked off a massive goal since I was 16. Now, it's not actually checking off that goal that's made me happy. It's my perspective that I set something and I stuck to it. It's the perspective that I put in the work, the hours, the days, the weekends, the 80-hour weeks, the tears, the stress, the arguments, the ups, the downs. That makes me happy being on this journey. As I mentioned before, I've bought possessions thinking that it's going to make me happy, thinking I will have felt that I've made it, and it's not the case. How you perceive something is always going to be your experience. And what you can take away from me saying that is that you can change your perspective on fucking anything. Anything. You could think that being rich will make you happy. You could think that being rich would make you dread your life. You could think that being poor would make you happy. You could think that being poor would be the end of your life. The thing with that though is your perspective can be altered. You can think about things differently. It's not easy and it's really fucking challenging to change your perspective. Well, you can train it too, actually. You can train yourself to think differently about something. Now, a shift in perspective is not just waking up and appreciating the small things. It's not walking outside and being grateful for the sun, for this, for that. That's not how it works. That's bullshit fake change. If you truly, truly want to change your perspective, you need to learn about yourself. You need to dive deeper. Why do I think this? Why do I feel this? How have I come to this conclusion? What is it in me that craves this thought? How do I feel if I think differently? There's a lot of work tied to it. They say self-development, which that would tie in with self-development if you're trying to develop yourself, is tiring because it's never ending. And that's the fucking truth. It is never ending. And it is really fucking tiring because anything to do with change demands work, and work is fucking exhausting. The biggest thing with perspective, and to talk about it from my own perspective, it's really important to not fall too deep into a single-sided view or one lens or one thought. Perspectives change. I've seen people go balls deep on an idea or a perspective about something, and then 6 months later, they're completely countering what they once used to state. I've seen so many life coaches post that shadow work, childhood work, all those types of self-development, different areas of work you can do is what's going to make you successful or is what's going to change your life. And then I've seen recently, 12 months later, people post that that's not the way. That's not what's going to do it. It's something else. So that's why when you take on information on Instagram or social medias or from friends, you can't take it on for exactly what it is. You need to take it on with a grain of salt. You need to take it on as an idea that you then further. You solidify your thoughts around it. You play around with the fors and against. You think of it in all different lights. So many people that are vulnerable, and this is what really fucking grinds me about life coaches and business coaches and just those new developing type of coaches about a certain area, whether it's confidence or whether it's about the view on yourself, is they're so solid and strong on one viewpoint, and they even contradict themselves down the line. Now, I've never been a person to say I do life coaching because I don't. I've created my own category of coaching, and it's called Future Self Coaching. The name of the podcast, the sister name of the GL way, because it's, of course, all about things for your future self. And that could look like anything: your self-view, relationships, your fitness, your health. So it's future self coaching through health, because health is the foundation for anything being successful in your life. Anything. Any person who's rich and overweight normally ties in with depression. Anyone who's not healthy or unable to play around with their kids or their friends and they're successful in one area is normally blanketed by something feeling negative: depression, anxiety, stress. So your health is your currency when it comes to any form of success. So the next thing, open to criticism and know it will hurt. The pain of criticism. I'm not going to let you sit there and bullshit to me or yourself and allow you to think that criticism doesn't hurt or doesn't cut you deep at times. Anyone who says, I'm open to criticism, tell me, I want to know feedback. I want to know everything. Give me your thoughts. And they act as if it doesn't impact them in a negative feeling way, not in a negative outcome, but in a negative feeling way. It's a fucking lie. Criticism hurts. Criticism is painful. Now, there's two different things. There's constructive criticism and there's feedback. Feedback and constructive criticism give two different feelings. If someone says this podcast is shit, that's feedback. Constructive criticism is stating, look, that episode wasn't great because of this, this, and this. So just because it's constructive criticism doesn't mean it's going to make you feel good. And here's the thing, right? I'm always open to criticism. Always. I'm always open to constructive criticism. Sorry to correct myself. But I don't always welcome it with a warm feeling of, fuck yes, I want to hear this. I want to hear it because I'm in the pursuit of progression and being better. That's why I want to hear it. I want to hear it if it's going to make me sad, upset, if it's going to make me angry, agitated. I don't want to hear it because I feel good about every bit of constructive criticism I get, but I want to be a better human. I want to perform better. I want to give better information. I want things to be better, and you need feedback and constructive criticism with that. That being said, though, it fucking hurts. It really hurts. I remember, here's a good example, right? My best mate, Max, he's given me constructive criticism throughout my whole social media career. I started this shit when I was like 15, and I've experienced everything: highlights, lowlights, bullying, being picked on, fake accounts, being blasted on different accounts, called out by different coaches. Anything you could think of to do with social media has happened besides being cancelled. Fucking touch wood, fingers crossed. Hopefully you wouldn't cancel a future self coach that only cares about people. But anyway, you never know what's going to happen in the future. But he's criticized me for everything throughout every period in my life. And I fucking adore him for that. That doesn't mean I've always welcomed it. That doesn't mean it's always made me feel good. I've rarely ever clashed back or clapped back on someone giving criticism. If someone gives feedback, they genuinely care about your success. I've rarely stood there and gone, nah, fuck you, or don't you dare say that. It's happened, no doubt, more in personal development within my own self, less about social media and business and how I go about things, but it's definitely happened. However, him giving me criticism hasn't always been an enjoyable experience. I remember the first podcast I launched, and he said the volume was quiet, the ratio was off, and just what you were talking about, I couldn't really make out. Now, it was also met with, I'm so fucking proud of you. It's so insane what you did. No one else is doing that, and this is a big step. So there's for and against, but being a negative biased creature, human beings, we are negatively biased to protect ourselves. It's based on our evolution to be protective. We focus on that. 10 things right, one thing wrong. We're going to hyperfixate 9 times out of 10 on the one thing done wrong. So that feedback or constructive criticism I got, it fucking sucked. It really, really sucked. But it takes a certain level of human being to be the bad guy momentarily for you to thrive, for you to be successful. This is why truthful friendships and non-echo chamber friendships are so rare, but so fucking important. It's a really interesting concept, right? We normally like hanging out with those friends that positively reinforce what we do. An echo chamber means what I say goes about. So if I'm like, fuck this person, that echo chamber is, yeah, fuck that person, even if it's the wrong thing to think. But we're drawn to those types of friendships on a default because they don't give feedback and they don't give criticism. Now, someone like myself, I love multi-complex friendships where they can be a chamber of support and positive reinforcement, but they can also call me out. They can also tell me when things are good. I've been so vulnerable over the past 2 or 3 years on this podcast, which has only been 10 to 12 months, but on social media, on my Instagrams, which I'll link in the bio if you don't follow me. Check out my shit because I'm posting travel content and gym and fucking whatever. Just go and have a look at it. But I've been vulnerable on all these channels and it's opened me up to be criticized. It's opened me up to have comments made about me, thoughts projected onto me, and to have feedback that at times hurts. It sucks when you do a podcast episode where you're spilling your heart, mind, and soul, and the feedback is, oh, it was really quiet. You sit there for a moment, you're like, for fuck's sake, are you kidding me? But it's like, well, if it's quiet, that's feedback someone's giving you to be better. That's feedback someone is risking being the bad guy momentarily for the embetterment of you. So an example I had recently is as recent as this morning. I was having a conversation with my own mum and she was so interested in checking out what I'm doing. Guy, what are you up to? How are you feeling? All of this. And we covered it. And then I asked her about her day and what she's doing and what she's been, up to over the week. And then we got into a serious topic about fitness and progress. And I was calling her out on things. And it sometimes it fucking sucks. Being a coach or someone who wants better for other people is not all what it seems to be. It's hard, it's stressful, and at times it fucking sucks. It sucks to have a conversation with someone where you know they've left that conversation feeling a bit shit, but you've done it from a place of care. You know they're going to feel shit momentarily, but they're going to be progressive long term. If I call someone out, you're not doing this to your best ability. You're not being your best self. They're going to take that. Fuck, that sucked to hear. I don't want to hear that. Is guy judging me? They'll reflect on it. Well, yeah, maybe I'm not being my best self. I'm not doing the best I could. You know what? That's right. I'm going to make change. I'm going to do something different. Bang. The momentary bad guy has now altered your life to be a better person. So here's the thing, right? I didn't have the tools I wanted to have in the last episode. I watched the last episode yesterday and I don't like it. It looks shit. I don't like the topics I talked about and I think it could have been better. Now, I'm proud for staying consistent. I'm proud that I stuck to it and that in the mountains of Vietnam where the internet's shit and you don't have a studio like this. But I thought, no, it's not good enough. And people didn't call me out on it, but I got feedback about it. And it sucked at the time. I'm traveling solo on my own, doing the best I can. I'm trying to find things. I researched podcast studios today and 50 different ones popped up. So I had to fucking sit there and go through them. The website, the costing, the layout, the production. It's like I'm doing this all on my own. But then I reflected, it's like these people aren't saying this to be an asshole. They're not saying it to come at me. They're saying it because they know I want better for myself and they know I can be better. They know I can be better. Criticism fucking hurts. Even in coaching, right? The biggest thing I've experienced as a coach, sorry, for anyone on Spotify, I just took a drink, so if I go silent for a moment, that's why. Being a coach at times sucks. Because there's the difference and the contrast between supporting and caring for someone, wanting smiles, proud achievement, wanting them to be the best they can. But that doesn't always come from positive situations. I've had countless situations where a client, back when I was doing face-to-face, told me, I did this week. And they were so proud and stoked and ecstatic about what they did. And in my head, I was reflecting, that's not good. You could have done that better. I know you could have done that better. And I've mentioned it and said it, and it fucking sucks because a smile turns to an expressionless face. I know the feelings are hurt a little bit, but then they take it away. They reflect on it. And it's not about being right, but they think, yeah, like that's right. I could have been better. I could have done that better. Being open to criticism does not mean you are someone that is welcoming it with warmth. It doesn't mean that every bit of criticism you get is going to make you feel good, but the outcomes long term are going to be progressive because of it. The outcomes long term are going to make you better for it. Still sucks though. You can hear something. I've had clients that I've worked with where we've talked about not focusing on body weight. And then they've messaged me, oh, my body weight went up 500 grams because of this, and this. And I've called them out going, hey, like we're not focusing on it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want you messaging me that it's gone up or it's gone down. Now, this is individual. Some people I do focus on it. Some people I do want check-ins. Some people I do want to validate why it's gone up or down because I want them to learn. But some specific people, they'll always say, oh, I don't care about body weight. I don't care about body weight. But they tell me about it. And it's like, well, you do care about body weight. And I've called it out before. It's like, you do care. So let's explore it. And it's like, no, I don't. And there's a bit of offense taken. But again, it's with warmth being said. Criticism, constructive, when it's said constructively, is being said because someone wants you to be better. Now, it's up to you to differentiate who those people are and what those dynamics are. If I've never talked to someone before and they message going, oh, that episode was shit, you could have talked louder, I don't really see that to be constructive criticism. That's someone talking out of pocket and I don't want to hear it. But if a best friend tells me, hey man, like it's pretty fucking average, I think you could have done better, I'll welcome that. And that's what you need to learn, right? You need to learn what you take on, what you don't, who you listen to, who you don't. But the biggest point I'm trying to get at is that criticism isn't going to be a nice experience all the time. It doesn't matter how confident you are. I am someone who self-validates like a motherfucker. So I've been traveling for 6 weeks now. I've seen a waterfall and I didn't post about it because I wanted to self-validate at that point in time. My eyes have seen this and that's all that matters. This is a beautiful moment and this is all that I care about. I've seen different things. I've taken risks. I've gone this place. Someone told me stay here and I've stayed somewhere else. I self-validate and I'm very confident in what I do. People could say, oh, the coaching you do is shit. Oh, why would you do a podcast? Why would you waste your time on social media? That post is cringy, this and this. I've experienced all of that, all of it to a fucking crazy extent. So I'm confident with all of that. I could walk down the street in underwear right now and not really care. I could go and do interviews like I did not that long ago and interview the public. Now, it brings nerves, but there's the confidence to do it. It's self-backing. It's not, I don't really care about people's judgments. I'm not worried about what people are thinking or going to say. So even being someone so future self-focused, confident, self-validating, and solidified in who I am, it's still average at times being criticized. But what I'm trying to get at is that's normal and it's okay. If you think you've killed a week and your coach calls you out saying you could have done it better, it's okay for that to hurt. If you think you handled a situation with an ex-partner or a friend or a business venture and your friends tell you could have done it better, it's okay for that to hurt. Things hurt and make us upset because we care. We care. We're putting vulnerability, time, effort, money, energy, you're investing into something. When it doesn't give you the outcome you want instantaneously, it can be upsetting. And then when someone reinforces that, it hurts a little bit more. But again, you need to be open to those things. If you're someone that's shut off, doesn't like criticism, doesn't take on criticism, not necessarily likes it, because you can hate it but still take it on, doesn't take on criticism, isn't open to it, isn't open to feedback. You need to look at your ego. You need to look at your ego. And I've been that person before, trust me. I really, really have. I really have. There's been points in time where people haven't been able to tell me to do things differently, better, more or less. I just haven't welcomed it. I've told them no, like I know best. And that's just an ego thing. It's also a protection thing. A lot of our ego comes from a place of protection. You're not successful. How can you tell me to do something different? You're not doing what I'm doing. How can you give me feedback? You're not successful in that field. You're not growing. You're not working as hard as I am. How can you give me feedback? I'm not welcoming that. But again, it stems back to what I said before. Perspective. It's the dictator of experience. Everyone has a different experience. There could be someone who has run businesses that have failed, but they experienced something or learned a lesson from someone that could propel your business to be the most successful thing ever. But if you look at them, nah, you're less successful than me, I'm not going to learn from you. What a fucking disservice to yourself that is, all from an ego and a perspective. I've said this to my clients and so many close friends. You can learn something from everyone. Everyone. Now, that doesn't mean what everyone will teach you is what they're doing, or that doesn't mean they're successful, so you need to learn from them. 80% of the shit I learn from people that I don't fucking want to be like. I learn from people that I don't want to follow. I don't want to do that. I don't want to make those choices. I hate how you think. I don't like how you run business. I don't like how you approach training. You can still learn something from someone. I've had conversations with people where in my head I'm reflecting, going, fuck, I'm really learning something from this individual because I don't want to be like that. I don't want to do those things. Like I said, truthfully, I would say 80% of the things I learn from a majority of every individual are things I don't want to. If someone's telling me, hey, you need to be more balanced, you're not living a balanced lifestyle, go out on the weekend, have fun. I can learn something from that. The lesson is, okay, maybe I could be more balanced, but I'm learning that I don't want to fucking have the perspective you have that balance is drinking alcohol, and you learn something from them. One of the biggest things I ever learned in coaching, and I learned this from someone that was a big part of my life, is I don't ever want to be a disingenuous coach. Right word? I think it's the right word. I don't want to be someone that seems like they want to help people, but they have ulterior motive behind it. That's something I was exposed to, and I've been exposed to a few times, where someone seems like they're doing something for the right cause, but there's an ulterior motive behind it. Now, again, I didn't have the ego to say, no, I know you're not a great person, or what you do isn't good. I don't ever want to hear from you or talk to you or learn something from you. I learned that, and that's changed everything for me. The biggest success I have in business is genuinely just giving an actual fuck. Giving an actual fuck. I've had people come and work with me that I met 4 years ago, and they literally say, I remember when I did a challenge and you listened to me. You didn't go off with the crowd. You weren't trying to be funny. You weren't trying to lead the pack. You sat there and listened to me and gave me some advice. That's why I want to work with you. Genuine care is something a lot of people in business and coaching don't have, and it's such a disservice to them. Such a disservice to them. I know, I just see it now, maybe because I have a business mindset or I'm just aware enough to know how people do things, but I can just see in so many coaches these days how just not genuine what they do is. So for instance, like something I've been exposed to recently is upfront payments. Some coaches will state that they've paid $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 upfront to their business mentor or their life coach or their support network. And it's ulterior motive because they're trying to express, yeah, I do it. That's why I'm successful. That's why you need to do it. So realistically, the motive isn't to express I've committed. I stick to my word. I know it takes a lot of money and this and this. There could be parts of that for sure, but I know how to dissect a situation, and they're doing it so you feel guilty for not paying up front. Because what coach or what person in business doesn't want an upfront payment? Upfront is a solidification of income and commitment. So if they're posting and preaching all the time, yeah, upfront this, big amounts of investment, sold my car to invest, the ulterior motive is you should be doing this, or why aren't you doing this? And I fucking hate it. I despise it. Yeah. One of the things I've wanted to call out recently and I haven't is the DM me now. If you want to work with me, there's limited spots, DM me now. It's like, homie, if they wanted to work with you, they'd fucking DM you. You don't need to rush someone into making a choice because there's scarcity. When someone's ready, they will want to work with you. You don't need to rush the DM or join my waiting list. Or I remember I used to post waiting lists. Send a DM, you can join my waiting list. Now, one, it came from ego because it seemed so good that I had a waiting list. I was successful. I don't have a spot for you to start straight away. You need to join my waiting list and see if I want to work with you. But two, I was so on demand for face-to-face at a point in time. I had people starting in 3, 4, 5 weeks time. So there was a genuine waiting list there, but so many people these days, there's no waiting list. If you want to work with a coach, message them. I guarantee you their fill-in application, you'll be able to work with them. They'll approve it. 99% of coaches act like they have a specific niche of people they work with, but they approve every application they're given, which again, there's ulterior, just be honest with it. Hey, I have an application because I want to learn more about you, but there's a high chance we'll work together. Now, I never promoted write in my application or send an application through for approval. I used to have an inquiry form because if someone set a goal that didn't work with me, I just refer them on. I just pass them on. The amount of times I've had people work with me and then go off on their own, or they try another coach and I support it. I check in with them still. I'm keen. I genuinely give a fuck about this person succeeding and experiencing something new. And then bang, 6 months later, they're back. They're coming back around. Genuine care is so important, but it's not understood in the industry. And excuse me, I'm not trying to have a business podcast right now, but if any coach is listening, my task for you or reflection to think about is more genuine care. And now we can always say, I genuinely care. I genuinely want success for you. And a lot of people do. You wouldn't be in the coaching industry if you didn't care about someone. But if someone leaves you, do you still care about them the same? And I don't mean you're checking in with them every week, but I mean, do you go weird and sour when they want to stop? And if you do, that's what you need to change. If you genuinely cared about a human's success, that's what needs to change. I have someone working with me now who's on a weight loss journey and they're not loving the online. They want to go face to face. I don't give a fuck whether they're paying me, working with me, or someone else. I want to see in 6 months' time 15 kilos lost. I want to message, oh my God, the foundations we worked on, I've lost 20 kilos and I'm loving it. Whether they're with me or not, I'd always want to work with people because it's my input, it's my thoughts. And the more successful my business is, the better I can do things. So for instance, this wasn't cheap. This was not cheap. I'm not going to say the cost, but this has been one of my biggest podcast investments outside of buying individual equipment. But that's the thing, right? The more income you have, the more you can do things better, reach a bigger audience. So it's just a tangent maybe, but yeah, there's passion behind what I was just saying then. Oh yeah. The importance of self-validation. Now, that's the statement. The reason I wrote that is a topic I've really been diving into over the past 12 months. And there's opposing sides to this. There's definitely for and against. But what I've been thinking on is no one will ever be as happy for you as you will yourself. Now, that's a weird thing for someone that's vulnerable or insecure, not confident, they don't back themselves, they don't trust themselves, because 9 times out of 10, a coach will be more happy for you than you'll be for yourself. So like in anything, right, you can't please both audiences, but I'm going to just talk about a specific idea I've been working with, and maybe you've thought about it, maybe you haven't. Maybe this is one of the weird things my brain clocks onto and makes things deeper than it needs to be. But no one will ever be happy for you than you can be for yourself. So here's an experience. Have you ever had it where you tell someone something you've been working on or you've achieved or you've put countless hours into or you finally discovered, and the response is, oh, that's cool, or oh, well done. Yeah, great. Oh, I'm happy for you. And it just doesn't hit. It just doesn't hit. They'll either say that and then talk about something else. Oh, I'm happy for you. Oh, yeah, I actually did this today and I went to this spot. And in your brain, you're thinking, bro, you don't get it. I've worked it out. I've achieved it. I've finally stuck to what I was going to for so long. That's not individual. It's actually a concept. Whether it's an official concept or not, or one I'm fucking coining right now, it's a non-unique human experience. So for instance, to put backing behind it, it's not malice either. It's not malice either. So I might tell, let's say Alec, I'll just throw in my other friend in there. Let's say I tell Alec, dude, I filmed in a podcast studio today and it was unreal. His response might be, bro, that's so cool. And in my head, I'm like, oh, that didn't hit. Like, no, you don't get it, man. I filmed in a podcast studio today. He's not being malice by saying that's cool. That's the right response. But that feeling you're feeling inside of it, not serving that purpose you want or giving you that validation you want, that's normal too. And it's a really, really interesting concept that I can't actually put into words completely. And I'm definitely doing more lessons and learning and exposure to it so I can talk about it more. But he hasn't done the wrong thing. And that not feeling good enough for you isn't the wrong thing either. It isn't the wrong thing either. The reason it feels more to you is because you've experienced it. You know the hours it took, the choices, the sacrifice, the decisions, the investment, the effort. You know that. No one knows that I rode a bike 5 kilometers, got on a train, got off the train, got on another train, scrolled through 50 different studios, worked out the pricing, booked it in, paid for it, came here, thought about topics. No one knows that. So I'm clocking on all these ideas of effort I've put in. People won't be able to relate to that. And that's why self-validation is so fucking important. Now, this is a type of different self-validation. I don't mean the validation where I talked about before, where I look at a waterfall and it's like, yes, this is so pretty. No one else needs to know about this. I mean that the validation where you can actually congratulate yourself good enough that anyone else's comments are just an add-on. So again, a lot of this episode's coming from a reflection conversation I had with my mum this morning. She was telling me this morning, I did this. And I'm not going to mention what it was, but it was something, a big deal to her. To someone like me, in my life, it's not a big deal. It's a big deal because I care about it and I'm happy for her and I'm invested in it for her. But the actual thing done wasn't a big deal to me. So she told me, and my response is, wow, that's so amazing. And I was like, no, I'm really proud of you. And I really tried to reinforce this rebuttal of, I get it, I understand it. And me and her have reflected on this idea a few times. So we understand each other on it. She could say, yeah, that's great. And I know in her head, I'm like, no, motherfucker, I know you feel more about that, but you don't need to give more because I get it. But that response for her, maybe if this was someone else, would have felt disappointing. My response of, yeah, that's great. I'm happy for you. And in her head, she's like, no, you don't get it. Countless hours, days, weeks, months, time, energy. I've done it. I'm finally doing it. It's normal. What I'm trying to get at in this reflection is just normalizing that bit of disappointment you feel when you express to someone an achievement. They haven't done the wrong thing. You're not doing the wrong thing by feeling a little bit disappointed. Nothing can really change except you self-validate a little bit more. So if I tell someone, for instance, I'm traveling the world. Dude, I'm 22 years old. I own my apartment and I've built a business where I can online coach and travel the world. That's impressive to me. I'm actually proud of me. I reflect on being proud of my past self. I know the life I'm living is not normal and not everyone is living it. But I've learned to self-validate it. So when I meet a random or a stranger along the way, so for instance, I met these girls on the cruise that I went on, And they were asking about my life story. And I mentioned I'm an online coach. I'm traveling the world. This is what I'm doing. Their response was, wow, that's cool. And in my head, I was like, wow, that's cool. I was like, no, it's fucking insane. But they don't need to know the details, what it took to get here. Their response is with what they know, and they're giving a validating response of, wow, that's cool. And it's, yeah, actually, it is cool. And I know how cool it is because I've been there through everything. So I don't think you'll ever get external validation that's ever going to be up to scratch of what you want back. And that's no one's responsibility other than your own to learn to self-validate it. For instance, I've put in rehab with my hip. A year's worth of absolute shit work that I hated. And then I told someone part of that journey, I can run again. And the response was, good job, bro. I was like, good job, bro. I've put in 500 hours, over 10 hours every week, training, rehabbing, doing this and this. Good job, bro. It's like, well, no, yeah, it is good job, bro. And I can also validate how hard I worked and how special that moment is. So don't feel like it's individual. Don't feel like you're doing the wrong thing for feeling let down. If you achieve something and your coach responds, that's unreal, or I'm proud of you, maybe they could do a better job. And I always strive to really do a better job because I know how impactful words can be. But that doesn't mean that they've done the wrong thing. Okay. So that's just what I'm trying to elevate your awareness on. The rise and dips at any level. I talked about this a little bit in the last episode, but I just didn't do it the justice I think it deserves. The rise and dips are the same at any level. So what does that mean? What are you talking about? What I mean by that is that rise and dips give a feeling of happiness on the rise, excitement, proud. The dips, self-doubt, questioning, unsure, a bit of negativity. The rise and dip quality and intensity changes over the course of time that you've been doing something. So the rise and dips when you first start may feel detrimental and like it's the end of the world. And then you might feel like you're on top of the world. The rise and dips now, I know and have trusted the process for so long. When I'm in a dip, I know the rise will come. I still feel shit, flat, demotivated, a bit upset, but I know it's coming. So there's a little bit more solidification on the future panning out, but you'll still feel it at any level. I've been doing content for years, fucking years, on so many different platforms, different styles, different this. I still feel the same rise and dips I do since when I started. When I first started and I'd get a post that would get 100 likes, I would feel on top of the world. And then when I'd get a bullying comment, I'd feel absolutely shit. When I get a TikTok now that goes viral, I feel on top of the world. And then when I have ones that flop or episodes don't do good or what I thought was going to hit doesn't hit as hard, I still feel shit. And it's normal. It is so normal. The disappointing or upsetting thing about the rise and dips are people aren't very educated on it. They think I run this rise and milk it for everything I can. And then when it dips, I'm done. And you see it so often in coaching and client journeys. That's why some coaches only offer 6, 8, and 12-week commitments because that's why challenge is also 12 weeks because you can run a rise for 12 weeks and that avoids majority of the dips. So then you don't actually go through that process. But what I see happen so often is people kill it. And then when the dip happens, they completely fall off. This is the end. I'm demotivated. I hate it. I'm done. What's the point? Because they just haven't been exposed or educated or supported through the fact that things rise and dip. Now you see it in different dynamics. Oh, you'll be stronger and weaker at different points in time. Strength isn't linear. Body weight isn't linear. You'll go up and down. But actual situations aren't linear either. So sorry, not Zoe, Chloe, and hopefully you're tuning in. One of my clients, Chloe, is an absolute fucking weapon. She's inspired me on so many different situations, just achievements, goals, and whatnot. But I posted something about her on my GL coaching Instagram, link in the bio, the other day about strength. And the fact that seeing something through is so important. We ran a period of time, 6 months, strength was going up in astronomical rates. Then we hit a flat line, things stopped, then it became demotivating. Sessions became hard, boring. She wanted to train a bit less. It just seemed like so much effort to do a session. And in my head, I was questioning, fuck, I hope she sees this through. Because this is normally that point in time where people drop off. Oh, I'm done with the gym. I'll just do something else. Or I'm done with coaching. I'll do something else. But of course, knowing her and the weapon she is, she stuck it through. And now after that flatline regression period of feeling shit, hit a PB. It's like, well, wait a second. How the fuck are you going to hit a PB over a dip? It's like, well, because you see the process through. Shout out to you, Chloe, you fucking weapon. I don't know why I said her specifically, because every single client I work with experiences it, and I experience it myself. One superpower I think I have, and I'm not perfect on it, and I'm definitely not flawless with it. I still have people leave. I still have journeys that aren't as successful as they could have been. But a superpower I think I have is caring and being so educated during those flat lines and dips that I can allow people to see it through. So normally what happens if someone achieves big weight loss, 20 kilos, then they flatline, then they put on weight. Fuck. They've put on 5 kilos. Fuck, they've put on 10 kilos. We're going backwards. A lot of people would stress about that, but I don't, because if you support, alter the program, change what you do, you see it through. Okay, they've lost 5 kilos again. They've lost 10, 50. Holy shit, we're in a period we've never been through before. Now, I'm not saying I'm the only person that does that or I'm the best at it. Work with me. I'm just trying to express that rise and dips are inevitable and unavoidable. Everyone will experience them and they're not unique. But it's up to you to have the strength to see it through. The best example I can, if you disagree with this right now, that's, hey, so fine. Message one of my clients or I'll fucking tell you one myself and there's an example of a successful outcome of what I'm talking about. But a way I can just quickly on the spot maybe alter your mind, real quick, think back to a period of time where you either thought your life was over, you lost heaps of money, you lost a friend, you spent weeks crying, everything went dark, everything went to shit. Think about it. Interestingly enough, you reflected back on a time. Hopefully it was some time ago and not something yesterday or last week, because then this example won't work. And look at you now. You're past it. You've overcome it. Do you get what I'm talking about? The dips aren't forever unless you make them forever. The dips aren't an ending story unless you make it your ending story. You just reflected on something you thought was the end of your world, and here you are. Whether you've dealt with it or not, different story. Whether it's really impacted you or not, different story. Shani is an example, right? One of my listeners, one of my clients too. She maybe reflected right now back to a car accident she had. She would have thought her life was done then and there. What's the point? Things have changed forever. Yet here she is, a fit motherfucker, the smartest she's ever been, the most self-backing, the most beautiful soul I think she's ever had. And it's just, again, it's that seeing it through. So a point in time that felt so detrimental it's over, that's not actually how things are. You make that how things are. I'm throwing full ownership responsibility onto you right now. Because again, fucking hell, links back to the first thing. Perspective is the dictator of experience. How you perceive a situation and then what your actions are from that will be the outcomes you have and will be the alteration of your future. I'm trying to reflect right now on a situation, it's a vulnerability thing, okay? So there's been points in, this is maybe a weird thing. Hopefully I don't get YouTube flagged, so I'll articulate the words so you get at what I'm talking about. There have been points in my life where I've been so depressed and tired and over it that I didn't want to continue. So I know you can get at what I'm saying from that. Now, I've never been someone to know I'll action on things like that. It would never be me. I can definitely think about it and I can definitely have those thoughts, but I'm just not that type of person to ever do something like that, especially with the experience my family's had and and all those types of things. And I'm not that type of mindset where I think people would be better off without it. It's just being tired, right? I've been in that situation before. Yet 6 weeks ago, I was crying at an airport because of how proud I was of myself for what I've achieved. And you just link that, right? Situations aren't what they are what you make them to be. I could have thought, oh, that's the end of my life. What's the point? Everything's going to be shit from now on. I've had beautiful experiences since then, proud moments, successes, ticking off goals, working on all these things. And it fucking, man, sorry, I got a little choked up for a second. It really upsets me because some people don't have the solidification that the future can change. And they think that's it, then and there. That's how things are. There's so many things running through my head right now, like really shit things I've experienced, but you come out the other side. You don't just come out the other side though. You come out the other side. You choose it. You make it. You make it. I know this man who built a business, income, $12 million, lost it all, built another one. Almost back to the same position. How fucking mind-blowing that is. Lost it all, processed it, got back up, and is now back in that position with the knowledge of what not to do, what to avoid, and how to work around it. Like, they didn't just get to this point of overcoming it. They created that from their choices. So nothing you experience in life is ever forever. It's never solidified, and nothing will actually come from it unless you allow it to, or unless you choose it to. If you're in a shit position right now and you're not happy with your life and you keep it the same, it's going to be shit for the rest of your life. Why do you think so many weight loss journeys actually happen? Because someone is overweight, they're not happy with where they're at, they cut the shit, they call themselves out, they work, they change their experience. They change their experience. The power of choice. Fucking hell. One of the episodes I'm going to do is the power of choice because I say it to every client almost every week. I'm always pushing the emphasis that the power of choice is always present. You always have the ability to choose. Now, you don't always have the ability to choose what you want. You don't always have the ability to choose the outcomes you prefer, but you have an ability to choose different. People who are stressed at uni, depressed, borderline suicidal, hating life, hating their job, you can change it if you want. Truthfully, you can fucking drop out. You can defer a year. And then there's these things of, no, but I can't, it's a waste of money, or, I won't be successful, I won't get the degree, I won't get the job. Motherfucker, if you're thinking about ending it all over some shit that's changeable, just fucking change it. Change it. It doesn't have to be something you experience and don't see a different outcome for. Whew. Shit. Anyone? I don't know when you're listening to this, but Saturday morning is when this launches. So if you're listening on Saturday, happy fucking Saturday, because we're going in on some things. And if you're gaining some value from this episode, please let me know, because it's a different approach to what I've done before. And I'd really want the feedback on that. Constructive feedback. If you're going to tell me it's shit and I don't know you, don't fucking tell me. But if I know you, then you want to give a little something, positive reinforcement or feedback, go for gold. Go for gold. Okay. I definitely don't want this episode to go for too long. So I'm going to talk about one more thing. Delusional belief and its power. Majority of people won't ever be able to see what's possible like you can. Oh, Max, this is your episode, buddy. Shout out again. I'm talking about you. I'd never talk about someone's personal vulnerabilities if I didn't know they wouldn't be okay with it. But here's the thing. So I'm going to talk about him in a second, but I'll explain the expression. Delusional belief in its power. Anyone in business knows what it's like to be delusional. Anyone that's an athlete knows what it's like to be delusional. Anyone who's pursuing something that's not normal or not widely achieved or widely seen or often done knows what it's like to be delusional. Guy, what the fuck are you talking about? Delusional belief through the eyes of someone else. It's not delusional in your eyes. If I was 16 and I had have said to people, I'm going to travel the world, online coaching, with a podcast, doing solo EPs with people, impacting lives, have an apartment, have my dream car, have experienced some good relationships, some not, friendships, businesses, whatever. People would be like, motherfucker, you're 16. That's ridiculous. That's delusional. It is to you, buddy, but it ain't to me. So there's power in delusional belief. Now, what I mean by that is, here's another example. Conor McGregor, and he's covered this great. You look at someone like Conor McGregor, ego, asshole, thinks he's the best, thinks no one's ever going to surpass him, this, and this. There's just delusion in his thought. You'd think he's almost psychotic crazy. Yeah, he is in your eyes, but he's not to himself. And look what he built. Look what he built. So, for instance, the example I was going to give with Max, halfway through his, I think it's semi-finals workouts, he started questioning himself. Oh, maybe touring's not this year. Maybe I can't do it. Maybe it's too hard. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. The motherfucker did it. He did it. I gave him these pair of shoes that said custom, Nike Metcons, 2024. Oh, fuck. What did I write now? I forget. 2024 focus. Because my mind was 2024 is when he's going to make the biggest goal he's ever worked for. People may have looked at me and gone, bro, he's been in the sport for 3 years. That's just a bit delusional to think about. But I had that delusion in the eyes of other people because I truly believed it. I convinced myself knowing he will do it. So he's questioning himself on these workouts. And I said, bro, you need to be a little bit delusional in the thought. Even if it looks like it's impossible, even if it looks like you're not going to get there, just believe it. If you're in a race and you're at the back and you think in your own mind, I can fucking come first, chances are you probably won't, but chances are, meaning you thinking you can gives you a chance that you actually can. If you think, oh, I'm done, I won't get there, I'm fucked, chances are 100% solidified you won't. You won't. Steffi. I worked with Steffi, who is a little military weapon now. And one of the first goals she ever had when we worked together was self-belief. Now this woman's in the fucking trenches, in the bush, camping, doing, like, you have to believe in yourself like crazy to be in the army. And we actually had a really, really uncomfortable discussion where she told me delusional belief is the most ridiculous thing ever and she's not going to do it. And I was like, you need to. You have to. If the odds are stacked against you, but you believe you can, you've opened up a doorway you could potentially walk down. Will you walk down it? Maybe not. Are the chances really slim? Probably, but you've allowed for it. You've opened up the potential for you to walk through it. Delusional belief is one of those things where it's delusion in the eyes of someone else. Any goal I've ever achieved, big, small, anything. Man, I've done some things that so many people would think are delusional. IFBB, youngest Australasian athlete, 16 years old. My business, these travels, my personal purchases, the extent of how big my business got when I was in face-to-face, the goals I have now. I have goals of earning 10 to 15K per week, working less hours, increasing my coaching prices, working with less people, having a podcast with tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of subscribers, stage talks, paying for my family's mortgages, buying my dream car of Mercedes GTR, exploring the world, meeting people, altering my mind. I know you probably just listened to all that and thought, holy fuck, that's a lot. And it is. You maybe even thought I was delusional. Thank you. So what I want you to think, because you don't believe it's possible, but I do. And it's a really weird dynamic, right? Because whether it's possible or not, you need to convince yourself of it. You can't have those doubts. Even if the likelihood of me doing all those things is 10%, if I have any thought of, oh, maybe I can't, I probably won't. But if I block it out and I'm just so focused on, no, I can, I will, it's probably going to happen. If not, at least I've done the most I can to open up the doorways to get there. But even that sounds like a cop-out, right? I don't even have that type of thought. I don't think, oh, I've done the best I could to get there. It's like, no, I'm one of those people that say I'm going to do something and I do it. I could change along the course of time. You never know, man. I could go to Croatia and want to just live there. I could go back to Bali and shave my head and be a monk. Like, things can change, but with the current mindsets I have and the goals I have, I know I'm going to achieve it. I worked with anyone who knows gel coaching knows of Josh, and Josh is one of my first ever major weight loss transformations I was a part of. I think it was like 120 something kilos down to 80. 120 kilo Josh needed to be delusional in the eyes of everyone around him. Everyone probably had self-doubt, lack of belief. You can't do it. Man, you've said you're going to start on Monday so many weeks in a row. You've said you're going to do it. You haven't. But he needed to have the belief of, no, I can. He needed to look delusional to other people to actually achieve that goal. Now, again, take what I'm saying as a tool to work with, not at complete face value. Because I don't want you to go out there and think, I need to be delusional. I'm going to run down the street telling everyone I'm going to have a big podcast. It's not that. I'm not saying if you're delusional, you're going to be successful, because there are some fucking delusional fuckers out there. But again, shit, they're so contradicting. In my perspective, there are out there, but that might be what gets them to achieve the goal. Crazy's different from delusion. Delusion's different from realistic, and realistic is different from self-belief. Dude, I don't know how valuable this episode was or not, but I think this is one of my most favorite podcast episodes I've ever done. Ever. This is, shout out Haley. Shit, I've fucking shout out at so many people, but hey, you guys are my life. You guys are my experience. I do a podcast coming from experience of what I've lived, seen, or gone through. So I don't want to be here just spitting facts at people. I want to have relatability. Relatability I've always seen to be my superpower. I've seen people use that terminology too. So shout out you for spreading my message. But relatability has always been my superpower because I've been through so much and I've always just understood humans from a different level. But Haley, I had a great conversation with one of my clients, Haley, and she really mentioned about I'm holding back my experience and just giving facts. And that's not what I want this to be. Damn, yo, one of you listeners fucking come over to Europe. I want to have a conversation with you guys. I want you guys, I want to speak to people. I want to challenge people. I want to share different mindsets. So if you're in fucking Spain, Italy, Croatia, anything over the next coming weeks to months, hit me up because I want to do a potty with you. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you've made it to the end, I think it's almost an hour's worth of listening. Hopefully it was interesting enough so you did. And if you did, I fucking adore you. Now I'm that person. Subscribe. Stop fucking around. Stop clicking on my channel. I want you to subscribe. Like it for me, because 3 likes on a 1,000 viewed video clearly shows not many of you are liking it. No, I know it is, but that shit is meaningless to you, but meaningful to me. And it helps my business and my branding. If you're on Spotify, check out my socials, cross over to YouTube, check out the little pods, the new studio setup. Probably going to be a different one the next episode you see. Thank you for tuning in. It is always about doing it for your future self. Delayed gratification. I adore you fuckers.